He broke our laws, he broke Philippine laws here in our country. So he has to stand trial here.
Vitaly Zorovatsky may be freed soon, according to certain rumors that have been circulating.
Vitaly, the deportation proceedings is undergoing together with the criminal cases.
Ang isa pa nating nakita ngayong linggo, yung kagalit-galit na pinanggagawa ng isang foreign vlogger sa ating mga kababayan.
I'm gonna f***ing rob you.
Biro man na ito o hindi, sino naman Pilipino ang hindi kukulo ang dugo sa napapanood natin?
Will he walk free or remain locked away for even longer? That's the burning question dividing online communities when the name Vitaly Zorovatsky, once the prank king of YouTube, is brought up. At the height of his fame, Vitaly was basking in the glow of worldwide recognition. His YouTube channel was drawing in millions of views every single month, and he even managed to take his prank films to theaters across the country. He was living the dream, one of the very few YouTubers to make such a massive impact. But that fame, it was fleeting, like a shooting star burning out faster than it appeared. Vitaly's career, once skyrocketing on the wings of audacity and outrageous stunts, spiraled into one of the most dramatic falls the YouTube world has ever seen. The very same boldness that made him a global sensation would become the very thing that led to his undoing. People still remember his unforgettable stunts, scaling the Hollywood sign, storming the World Cup stadium, pulling off jaw-dropping pranks that set social media on fire. But those days feel like a distant memory now, replaced by controversy and a deeply troubled future. Now, Vitaly's survival is on the line. He's facing the aftermath of his most reckless gamble yet. A gamble that has left him in the middle of a full-blown crisis in the Philippines, where he stands accused of harassment, theft, and disrespecting an entire nation. The price he's paying for those actions? A grim, overcrowded prison cell where leaked photos show him more worn and weary than ever before. Worse yet, this might just be the beginning of his darkest chapter. After spending over 6 months behind bars, rumors swirl about whether Vitaly will ever return to the US or even Russia. Some say he might be freed after his first court hearing. Others speculate that the road ahead will only get longer and harder. But the tragedy doesn't end there. His mother was swindled out of her savings in a desperate attempt to get him released from prison. So, how did Vitaly, who rose to fame so quickly, end up tarnishing every last bit of his hard-earned reputation? This isn't just a story of a steep fall from grace. It's a cautionary tale about the price of pushing boundaries without thinking of the consequences. A price that has now cost him his freedom, his career, and perhaps even his future. Let's rewind to April 2025. That's when everything came crashing down. During a live stream in the Philippines, Vitaly crossed a line that would seal his fate. The stream was filled with shocking moments. He stole a security guard's motorcycle, snatched hats off innocent bystanders, brandished a dangerous industrial fan while wearing an LED mask, and even harassed locals in broad daylight. It was chaos. He taunted, he threatened, and he mocked authority with an attitude so arrogant, it was almost surreal. The charges against him quickly mounted: theft, public disturbance, and resisting security. Legal experts say these offenses could land him in prison for as long as 24 years. But what made matters worse was his behavior during the arrest. Instead of expressing fear or remorse, he smirked at the camera, blew kisses, and proudly declared, "I love jail. This is money. I'm proud." To the Philippine authorities, Vitaly wasn't just a prankster anymore. He was a lawbreaker, someone who had no respect for the system. His smugness only fueled their resolve to bring him to trial right there in the Philippines. From that moment on, Vitaly found himself trapped in a prison called Beong Dua, a hellhole described as a cramped, overcrowded nightmare. Packed in a cell with 30 other inmates without the most basic of supplies, it's a far cry from the life of luxury he once flaunted on YouTube. Legal experts predict that his first trial hearing may not come until 2027 or even 2028, leaving Vitaly in a sort of limbo with no clear escape. The US and Russia have both washed their hands of him. Russia uses his case as a warning to its citizens, and the US has kept silent. Vitaly, once a global sensation, now stands as a stateless man behind bars with no clear way out. On June 17, 2025, leaked photos from prison showed Vitaly's devastating decline. His face, once filled with the cocky grin of a viral star, had become gaunt, almost unrecognizable. Some speculated that it was the result of a grueling prison diet. Others said it had something to do with his lack of steroids, which many believed played a role in his earlier bulked-up image. But it wasn't just his physical condition that had changed. His entire demeanor seemed to shift. The arrogance that once defined him was replaced by a look of despair. Amid his suffering, rumors began to spread. Would he be deported? Would he be granted freedom soon? Or was he stuck in a nightmare of his own making for years to come? In late May, Vitaly penned a letter begging for forgiveness, citing his deteriorating mental health. His plea for mercy, however, was swiftly rejected. His lawyer described him as being in the middle of a severe psychological crisis. But despite his attempts to downplay his actions as misguided pranks and assure everyone that he had undergone a spiritual transformation in prison, the public wasn't buying it. The people of the Philippines were unforgiving. To them, apologies were hollow words from a man with no other options left. "We may forgive," one official said, "but we don't forget. The law must be upheld." This scandal didn't stop there. The Philippine government began drafting stricter laws to regulate disruptive streamers, requiring permission to film in public places and even blurring faces of innocent bystanders. But while the government took action, Vitaly's situation grew worse. On June 11, 2025, Vitaly was moved from immigration detention to the Bureau of Jail Management to face charges of unjust vexation. A week later, he was unexpectedly granted bail, but it was nothing like what he had hoped for. Instead of being released, he was taken back to the Immigration Detention Center, labeled an undesirable alien who was banned from free movement. This leaves us wondering, how did Vitaly, the once beloved prank king, fall so far? Let's take a closer look at his past. Vitaly made a name for himself with pranks that pushed the boundaries of good taste and sometimes common decency. He staged fake bombings, invaded the World Cup, NBA Finals, and even scaled the Hollywood sign, all in the name of views. Every time he was arrested, his YouTube numbers would skyrocket. In his own words, "I came out of jail, every video was hitting 1 million views. So if I go to jail tonight or today, I'm ready." It's all about the views. It became a dangerous cycle, shocking pranks, arrests, fame, and wealth. But as Vitaly built his career on chaos, he fell into a trap. His greed and reckless pursuit of fame meant there was no stopping. Even as others, like Logan Paul and FouseyTube, pivoted or crashed under the weight of their own scandals, Vitaly doubled down on his dangerous game. In recent years, his stunts shifted to Asia, a place where strict laws and distinct cultures could generate maximum reactions and maximum views. But in the Philippines, the government drew a hard line. They weren't his playground, and they weren't going to let him get away with it. Rumors began to swirl about Vitaly getting special treatment in jail, air-conditioned cells, bribes for better food, or even internet access. But those rumors were quickly debunked. The Philippine authorities made it clear no special treatment for this disruptive YouTuber. His mother, in desperation, tried to raise the money to get him out, only to be swindled by scam artists pretending to be lawyers. This heartbreaking betrayal left her financially ruined and emotionally drained, as the ridicule online only added to her pain. In the midst of this chaos, Vitaly's future remains uncertain. His relationship with both Russia and the U.S. is strained, and the Philippines is determined to put him on trial. His future, if he's ever freed, could be as uncertain as his current situation. Some speculate that he may try to escape to a third country, perhaps in Europe or the Middle East, where he could buy his way to residency. But with his public image tarnished, it's hard to see a way out. Even the possibility that his former supporter, Donald Trump, might intervene now seems like a distant dream. Vitaly has become a symbol of unchecked arrogance, a cautionary tale in the world of social media, where fame and followers don't shield you from the consequences of your actions. His story has left his fans divided. Some pity him, others are furious. The chaos he once thrived on may never return. But in a world built on shock value, no one can predict what's next for Vitaly Zadorovetsky. What we do know is that his story is a sobering reminder of the price of arrogance and recklessness in the age of social media. Fame, once so accessible, can be a dangerous game. And for Vitaly, that game may have cost him everything.